Today we are doing the review on the $39 4500 PSI PCP pump. You can get these off eBay for $39, $49. I think I paid about $50 for this with shipping. So it's supposed to work just like a regular pump. You see it's got 6,000 on the meter there. So I'll just show you a couple things about it, and then I'm going to see how many pumps it takes with this thing to pump up my Hatsan Bull Boss. Alright, it looks like the end of this is pretty sturdy, pretty nice. It looks like it's as good a quality as you would need, and I'm going to test it with my fill probe here and see if it fits in there good. So this is just one of the fill probes I had, and this right here is a 1/8 Foster fitting nipple. This is a 1/8 hose with a, this is all 1/8 stuff. NPT is actually the thread. When I got this in the box, this was off, and so you just screw this in. You can use some Teflon tape on that, and then I imagine you would just hand tighten it. So when I got this, you can see this screw right here was loose, and that's as tight as I can get it with my finger, but I'm going to have to screw that in before I use it. Also, this spring on the bottom that allows it to kind of fold up nicely, it actually came off, so I had to take my pliers and pull that back on too. But once that was on, this thing seems pretty nice. So those screwed in easy enough, and this is now actually really sturdy and stiff there, so that's probably going to work out good. When you're done pumping your stuff, you just do this screw right here to release your pressure, and it looks pretty straightforward. It has some nice rubber grips on here that seem like they last a long time, and when you pull the thing out, it's actually pretty long, so that's how long it is when it's extended. That's the nut right there. That's at the bottom of the first tube. So they seem pretty nice. Everything seems pretty nice. I just so basically, if this thing works halfway decent, I would say it's probably going to be a good buy. The other thing I noticed is it's glow-in-the-dark dial right there. So I'm going to test this pump. I just hand tightened this gauge on here, but I think it's going to work okay. So this is actually a different brand of 1/8 Foster fitting female end, and so it looks like that one fits really good too. The probably 18-inch, 20-inch whip, they call it, is plenty long enough to give you room to attach it to your rifle and still maneuver it around to set your rifle on the ground or wherever you got to do it. Alright, so now for the fun part. I'm going to pump this up. Let's see, right now we are at about 100 bar on there, and I'm going to go ahead and try to fill my gun after shooting about 30 shots. I'm going to fill this gun back up to 200 where it's supposed to start at. I'm just going to start off with 50. Alright, I think that's 50. Now right here, this meter is showing 2,000. And my gun is showing 150, so 50 pumps got me from 100 to 50. That's not bad. So, barely breaking a sweat. So I actually had to put this down on the floor because it got a little hard. It's about the same amount of effort, but after about 75 pumps, I'm getting a little tired. So, as you can see though, you can like throw your gun on a bed, and the fill whip on this is perfect for being long enough. It looks like I'm right on the gun where it says AM on here, so we're almost to 3,000. We're at like, you know, 2,800 on here, and we're about 180 on the gun. I did notice after 75 pumps, this is starting to warm up a little bit, but just barely. Alright, I hit 3,000, so I'm gonna go ahead and let this out. Let the air out. Now my pump is nice and whatever. That's definitely a little bit warm, but that's fine. That is not warm. My tank's nice and ice cold, so it looks like I got my rifle back up to 200 bar with about 100 pumps, so I say that's not bad. So I would say overall this pump is a good buy. A pump like this for 50 bucks, this allows you to, you know, either get in the PCP game really cheap yourself by getting a nice $300 rifle like a Marauder, or maybe the Umarex Gauntlet is pretty badass. And also you can get your buddies, you know, if you want to get one of your buddies into shooting, you can recommend some rifles for them, and then they don't have to spend $200 on a tank, or, you know, on a really expensive pump, which sometimes that just puts you over the edge of what you can afford. So I would say this $39 pump is definitely a game changer, because it's going to allow people to get in the PCP game really cheap. And I'd say if you pump your gun up every once in a while, you don't use it that much, you can get by with this thing. The only thing is, if you shoot your gun a lot, you'd probably want to get either a $200 pump or some sort of air compressor or tank system. But as you can see, these are all over eBay. One thing you do have to remember is you want to buy from a US seller, because then you'll get your pump in about a week or so instead of having to wait 2 months. The one I got did come with O-rings and this little wrench and some extra parts and all that. So this is the pump next to a couple different tanks, and I am going to make a video that discusses how to get a tank like this, and even make your own adapter. I'm also going to do one about how to take, these are paintball gun size tanks. This right here is a 45-minute tank, and this right here is a 60-minute tank. If you're going to be getting into PCP shooting or air gun shooting, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. We're going to be covering just about everything you can think of that has to do with this kind of thing, and hopefully having a little bit of fun while we're doing it. My next video, or one of my next videos soon, is going to be how to take a regulator like this, which is actually set to do an output of 3,000 psi instead of your normal paintball gun output, which is 600 to 900 psi. Anyway, get a hold of one of these bad boys, and then you can make your own buddy bottle or small bottle with a remote coil paintball gun hose, and go ahead and run your gun off one of these when you're walking through the field. Throw one of these bad boys in your backpack. So anyway, this cost me $100, and we'll figure that all out. This is a cool chronograph I got the other day, so I'm going to be reviewing this. I think this sells for about $150, and it comes with its own printer, which is really cool. I just got the news that they came out with a new 22 bullet for air guns, and so what I mean by a bullet is it's going to be shaped like this and not have a skirt on it like a normal pellet does, but you can use them in a normal air gun, and I guess from 50 yards and beyond they are supposed to be amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and look those up and bring you some info on those.